Last lesson. Awesome. Before we do our project, so let's take a look at Express course in code.org, looking under Sprites, and we're going to jump into lesson 27, Virtual Pet with Sprite Lab. Here we go. Okay, so this is free play. What? But you want to check out this cool pet. While reading the code below, ask yourself, how do you command the pet to move? What happens when the pet touches the ice cream cone? How about the pepper? How is the energy variable used? How can you check the pet's current energy value? Run the code and play with the pet, and when you're done, click Finish. So this is your opportunity to play around, see what's already included in this code, and get some ideas for your own game. So remember, this purple block here, energy, is a variable, and they created the name themselves. So what does this variable do? In the beginning of the game, it's set to 5. When run in the beginning of the game, the background is park view, and there's a bunch of views to choose from. They have make new, this little purple dude at the center of the screen, also make new this ice cream cone, and also make new this pepper. So right off the bat, when I click run, all 3 of those characters and this background is going to be there. The other thing that's going to happen is the sprite movement, which we learned in lesson 24. So the ice cream cone, because it was already created, now is going to be wandering. So interestingly enough, this wandering is a function that code.org has provided for you. I know it's a function for 2 reasons. 1, because it's green, and 2, because there's an edit button on it. When we were using functions in Minecraft or Artist, we would write the function in the Minecraft in particular, and it was actually provided to us, and it would just sit here on the screen. This wandering function, we can't see the code unless we click the edit button. So if I click the edit button, within this behavior function that code.org has created for us, it has an if loop, it has an integer from 0 to 5, it makes the sprite move from a random location to a random location, and it moves the sprite 5 pixels, and then it says if it touches the edge, so like the edge of the screen, then the edges block the movement and changes the direction. So this wandering function, basically what's going to happen is whatever sprite is given the wandering movement or the wandering behavior is going to wander around the screen. If it touches the side, it stops moving, changes direction, and goes to another direction. So that's what the wandering function does. You don't even have to do anything other than drag the wandering behavior into one of the sprites to make it move. But that might also give you an idea of how you want to create a function of your own to do something in your game that you're going to create. So we've got all of that established, and then it also has the pepper, and it starts wandering. So when I click on run, I'm going to check this out. Hopefully it does the same thing on yours. And I can see that the ice cream cone and the pepper are just bouncing around the screen. The little purple dude is just sitting there. And it looks like there's these messages popping up on the screen. So I'm going to click reset. That must be happening later on in the game. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4 while movements with my purple guy, and it has north, south, west, and east. In class, I think it was lesson 19 or 20, I can't remember off the top of my head, we practiced using the when and while loops, and we changed the while loop from a when loop to basically change whether it looks like the dude is gliding or not. So if I press run and I use my arrow keys, I can move my guy left and right, okay? And I'm getting different messages. So go ahead and play around with this, see what you think about the game. And remember, you're going to need, in your game that you create, you're going to need to have a variable, you're going to need to have your own function, you're going to need to use a while loop and a when loop. And there's a couple of other criteria that you will have to do to complete your game. So this one should give you an idea. Play around with it, and by all means, feel free to remix it. There's a remix button right here, which will take the game that's already created, this code, and give you the opportunity to recode or add, delete, change it around. So for example, if I play this game and I really like it and I say I want to use this as my base for my game, I would click on Remix. And now I can change this guy to be something else. I could draw. There's more options. I could pick any sprite I wanted, so I can kind of tweak what already exists here and just change it up. Now, your game can't be exactly like this one. You will have to have some originality, but hopefully this is going to give you some ideas. Okay, so once you've clicked Run and you're satisfied with looking at the code, then you click on Finish. And we're going to take a look at the rest of lesson 27, which kind of goes through how this whole app was created to give you an idea of how you could create your own from scratch. So lesson 27, part 2. Now it's your turn to create your own virtual pet. Start by giving a look you like. Click the Costumes tab at the top left of your screen, and then Next to Code. So I'm going to click on the Costumes tab. So there's a coding and a costumes. I'm going to click on Costumes, and I can add. And I'm going to choose, so I've got a cat, and maybe I'm going to have my cat, no, this changed up a little bit, but you could just choose whatever you want. So I'll have my cat and a teddy bear, who knows? Who knows what else you want. So once you have decided what costume you like, so if you like maybe the teddy bear or the cat, you can always change it by maybe changing the background color or using the pen. You can play around with it and see if there's anything else you want to change it to. So then when you go back to code, what you're going to do is change the sprite's costume to your own. So it's here. So I could have chosen the teddy bear instead, and then change this and click Run. And then that's it. Once you've chosen your sprite and you've made a new sprite with the costume that you like, the next part is to create events to make your pet move on command. So we're going to use the while up pressed and along with move pixels north. So to do that, if you're not sure where those blocks are, you just click in here until you find it. So world doesn't have that green one, sprites doesn't have it, actions has the move, which it mentions here, and we've used that before. So I'm going to drag the move over because I will need it. And events. So events are where I'm going to find the while up pressed. So I can drag over the while up pressed. Notice it's flat at the top. It doesn't connect to the sprite. So while up pressed, I want to move my sprite. So I have to change the costume to the one I've chosen, and however many pixels you want to the north. And then you're going to repeat it until you get southwest and east as well. When you click Run, did yours work? So you have a north, south, east, and west. So hopefully you remember to make it while up north, while down south, while right east, and while left west, and yours works. So I'm going to click on Finish and head into lesson 27, part 4. Okay, so the next step is to add 2 sprites to your world. Make one sprite of what your pet likes to eat and another of what it doesn't like to eat. So to add a sprite, I head into Sprites, make a new sprite, and I'm going to do this at the beginning of the game. And this is going to be a food, so I'm going to click on More and look for a food. So I have a teddy bear. What might he like to eat? I'm going to say honey. Do they have any images of honey? Go ahead and search yourself and pick what you like. I had picked all, but I'm going to go back into food, and I'm going to say that he likes to eat watermelon. And oh, it didn't select it. There it is, watermelon. And then something he doesn't like, so I'll go back to Sprites, make a new, and we'll go more. Food, doesn't like to eat lemons. So now we can choose from lemons. And it originally starts at a random location. I'm going to leave that alone. And we need the wandering, so that's going to be under behaviors. So I'm going to make my sprite begin behaviors wandering. And originally I want my watermelon to wander. I'm also going to click on this and I'm going to do a Control-C, Control-V, and that way it just copies the code instead of me having to go back in here. And I'm going to make the lemon wander also. So what I've done this time is I've created a watermelon, I've created a lemon, and also at the beginning it will begin moving. So when I click on run, it starts and it starts to move. Both of them do. So that's it. Now we're on to lesson 27, part 5. So use the when something touches something with the blue something jump to something to simulate eating in your virtual world. Create an event that makes one of your food sprites jump to a random location when your pet touches it. Repeat the above for the other food sprite. Go ahead and give it a try, and then I'll talk you through it. Okay, so when is probably in events. So I don't want this one, but when something touches. So when my, let's say, teddy bear touches, now I need another sprite here. So when he touches the watermelon, what do I want to happen? I want to go into jump to, which would probably be in actions. So here is jump to. When the teddy bear touches the watermelon, I want the watermelon to jump to a random location. So it says jump to a random location. I'm going to repeat this process for the lemon because it says repeat for the other food sprite. So I can hit Control-C, Control-V, and it'll pop up here. So when the teddy bear touches the lemon, I'm going to copy this jump to command. The lemon jumps to a random location. Let's run it. So it touched and it kind of disappeared to another spot on the screen. Okay, lesson 27, Virtual Pet with Sprite Lab, part 6. Use set energy to blank along with change energy by blank to make eating food affect your pet's energy. The more energy it has, the faster it moves. So to get this set energy, that is a variable. So we're going to grab set energy. It automatically has a set to 5. I'm going to leave it there for now. And it says change energy. Okay. To 1, it says here, and we might be able to change that. So let's see. So the more energy it has, the faster it moves. Set the variable energy to 5 when it starts. And when your pet eats food it likes, add 1. When your pet eats food it doesn't like, set energy back to 5. So adding 1 tells me I'm going to need some math, which falls in with logic. So I'm going to say, we've done this before, and I'm just messing around with a variable right now. So originally my energy is going to be set to 5. It says set the variable energy to 5 when it starts. So I'm going to put that in my code. This is all connected to when run. So when run, all that code's going to happen. The green starting buttons, like the when and the while loops, they are not connected to when run. They only happen when something happens. So like if I press the up button or if this touches that. So at the beginning, I've set my energy to 5. And it says when your pet eats food it likes, add 1 to energy. So whatever energy is, I'm going to take that energy. Oops, and put that in this math problem here. And I'm going to add, whoops, Where are my math? I must have the wrong code here. Here it is. So I wanted that one instead. So I don't want blue, I want the purple. Take that out of there. So change energy by, I'm gonna have to go back. All right, I noticed I make a mistake because this is different than the command that we did in class. So kind of ignore what I did, and you would have change energy by 1. That implies that you're gonna just be increasing at 1. In class, what we did is we said set energy to energy plus 1. So whatever value you had, it was then energy plus 1, but I guess we can do it this way as well. And I'm just gonna have to give it a try. So I wanna add by 1 when it touches something I like. So when it touches the watermelon, that's when I want it to change. So I'm gonna put that in the when the bear touches the watermelon piece. When it doesn't like, I'm going to set energy back to 5. So I'm going to go back to my variables, set energy to 5, and that happens when my bear touches the lemon. So I'm going to put that back underneath here. So I'm going to try running it. Now, even though that's happening, I can't see what my scores are, so I don't really know if it's correct or not. But the good news is when we get into lesson 7 here, so let's run, finish. Lesson 7 is going to show us how to put our score on the screen, and then we can troubleshoot if our score is actually correct. So you can check your pet's energy value with print, a new block found in the world category. So here we are in world, and I'm going to print energy. So at the beginning of the game, I want to print it. And when it changes, I want to print it also. Then I'll know what the value is. And I probably want to print it if it gets reset as well. So create an event that makes the value of energy be printed when the pet sprite is clicked. When the pet sprite is clicked. So I just started printing everywhere without really reading the directions. I hope you did better than I did. So I'm going to take this off of these. It's not how the directions tell me to do it. The directions say, create an event that makes the value of energy be printed when the pet sprite is clicked. So I need an event when my sprite is clicked, and I'm going to change it to my sprite. So when my teddy bear is clicked, print my score. Let's try running it. I'm going to click the teddy bear, it says 5. The watermelon went on there, it is 6. The lemon went on there, it's back to 5. Lemon went on there, it's still 5. Watermelon is on there. Oh, and then the lemon. I think it's working. So I just keep clicking on the teddy bear and the score changes. And also you can kind of drive your sprite around to affect the score. So then I'm going to click on them and see. And so you can see my score went up a bunch as I touched the watermelon each time. So have fun with that. This is the last section in lesson 27, part 8. And it just says, free play, your virtual pet is virtually awesome. So what more can you do? You can try to change your background color to a color or an image. You can print more. You can say in the world where it says print in quotes. You can type in this box, so you can say great job or you lose or something like that, depending on what you want to happen. So maybe, for example, they type, I won't even say great job, I'll say this is yummy. And I would want that to happen when my sprite touches the watermelon. And maybe I would want to say this is sour. When it touches the lemon. So if I press run, it keeps popping up on the screen. And also when I click on the bear, my score will show. You can play around with all the different events and behaviors, and this should give you a really great start at an initial game so that you'll have plenty of ideas for your own game that you'd like to make in Sprite Lab. Great job. I hope you had fun.